In the wild mountains and forests, where red dirt trails still bear the footprints of animals, wild boar hunting still exists as a living memory of nature. Unlike raising animals in cages, hunting wild boars is a fierce battle of wits between humans and wild animals, where the barking of hunting dogs blends with the hunter's cautious footsteps to create a symphony of the old forest. Each hunt is an unpredictable journey, but it is from there that wild boar meat, naturally hunted, firm and flavorful, becomes a specialty that livestock farming can hardly replace. Instead of chasing wild boars through dense forests, many hunters today choose a more subtle method, luring a herd of wild boars into a homemade automatic iron cage. When the pigs come to eat, just one needs to step into the right position. The cage will quickly close, trapping the whole herd inside. This method is not only safer for the hunter, but also highly effective. When the iron trap suddenly fell, the herd of wild boars immediately panicked. The healthy pigs panicked and ran around, hitting the cage frame, trying desperately to find a way out. They scratched, dragged themselves, and tried to stab into the corners of the cage. But all their efforts only made the trap shake violently without moving it, and also injured them. This trap is placed in areas where the pigs often visit and is sprinkled with attractive bait such as corn, potatoes, or ripe wild fruits. This method is not only safer for the hunter, but also highly effective, keeping the herd intact without scaring them away. Once the pigs were exhausted from struggling in the cage, the hunters began to approach, using metal shields and guiding sticks to force each animal out of the cage safely. Sometimes, while moving, a strong pig suddenly rises, escapes the shield and rushes straight into the forest, leaving the hunter helpless. At night, when the forest is quiet and only the chirping of insects remains, that is when the iron traps that have been silently set come into play. When the rumble sound rang out, signaling the trap had been snapped, the whole forest seemed to wake up. Flashlights were turned on, and the hunters quickly arrived, observing the struggling pigs in the iron cage. Limited visibility, rugged terrain, and surprises from the cornered wildlife. As soon as each pig was loaded onto the truck, the door was immediately closed, minimizing the possibility of escape. All operations were carried out quickly and decisively, taking advantage of the darkness and the tiredness of the pigs to complete the transport safely. In addition to using iron cages to trap the herd, many hunters also use the method of sniping from above. They set up a watchtower in a favorable position and use a sniper rifle to ambush at night. When the boar appears, just one accurate shot can take down the prey without causing the whole herd to panic. This method requires high skill, absolute silence, and long ambush time, but is the optimal choice in cases where traditional traps cannot be set. Thanks to its extensive exercise in the wild and its diet of tree roots and forest seeds, wild boar meat has a moderate chewiness, dark flesh, and a fragrant aroma when cooked. Whether grilled, stir-fried, or cooked as fake dog meat, every dish made from wild boar has a rich, primitive flavor, a flavor that farmed meat can hardly match. Believe it or not, eels are also caught in the ocean. When most people think of eels, they immediately think of the slippery eels in ponds or tanks, often carefully cared for in artificial conditions. But few people know that far out at sea, amidst the salty water and rolling waves, there is also a species of eel that lives, and is caught by fishermen as a unique delicacy. It may sound strange, but sea eels do exist, and they are not like what you might think of as farmed eels. Do you know what the difference is between sea eels and farmed eels? Read on to find out. You might be surprised. Fishing for eels at sea requires fishermen to use special cages, usually long cylinders instead of nets like other fish. Because eels have the habit of hiding and prefer narrow and dark spaces, tube-shaped cages will stimulate them to crawl inside more easily. Before each trip, fishermen must prepare dozens, even hundreds of such cages to drop into the sea and patiently wait for the eels to find their way in. The eel trap at sea is a long tube with a one-way door. Inside is a bait with a fishy smell to attract the eels. Eels have a habit of hiding in dark, narrow places so they can easily crawl into the cage but cannot escape thanks to the narrow funnel design. This method is simple but very effective. Once the cages are full of eels, the fishermen quickly pull the cages out of the water and pour the eels into water tanks placed on the boat to keep them alive until they reach the shore. After being transferred from the boat to the shore, the eels are quickly placed in specialized mesh bags, then lifted onto trucks or taken to storage near the port. The entire process takes place urgently and synchronously to ensure that the eels remain fresh, ready for the next stages of processing and preparation at the factory. The bags of eel are then put on the conveyor belt, where workers work quickly and skillfully to clean the eel, preparing it for the next processing steps. In the processing area, the eels are put through a rigorous cleaning process. First, workers cut open the belly and remove the internal organs, then wash them several times with cold water to remove the characteristic mucus on the skin. Eel marinade is usually boiled with water, salt, mirin, and ginger, then cooled before soaking the eel to preserve the fresh flavor and tenderize the meat. A part of the cleaned eel will be put directly into the cooking process, helping to preserve the natural flavor and freshness of the product. The eel pieces, after being cut and processed, are neatly arranged according to standard quantities in each box. In addition to the convenient canned eel product, the manufacturer also developed a whole piece of sauced eel, preserving every piece of firm and fresh meat of the eel. Through the elaborate marinating process, each piece of eel is soaked in special spices, mixed with a smooth sauce, with a slightly spicy, sweet taste, and a characteristic strong aroma. Each piece of sauced eel, when eaten, is soft and rich, making the diner unable to resist the feeling of craving, especially when eaten with a bowl of hot white rice, making the meal more complete and attractive than ever. In the middle of the vast ocean, fishing boats plowed the waves out to sea at dawn. In the deep blue water, batches of shiny red shrimp were pulled up, their bright red shells sparkling under the sunlight, signaling a bountiful catch. Red shrimp are not only a precious product of the sea, but also the result of the sweat, experience, and persistent attachment of fishermen to each wave and wind. Carries a sweet and salty taste and immeasurable value. When the nets hit bottom, the fishermen silently clasp their hands, their eyes following every movement of the waves. A heavy, decisive pull, and each red shrimp from the sea rolled up into the net, their bodies glowing red, jumping and squishing in the dawn light. The whole ship's cabin seemed to light up with that bright red color, not only the color of precious products, but also the color of hope, of the effort returned after a long night at sea. As soon as the red shrimp are pulled up, the fishermen quickly cover them in ice. Each layer of fresh shrimp is placed alternately with each layer of ice, evenly and carefully, keeping the shrimp in the freshest state. The shrimp, after being stacked with ice, are hoisted ashore as soon as the ship arrives at port. Without delay, the fishermen quickly box them up, label them, and transfer them straight to a refrigerated truck, ready to be taken to the processing plant to preserve their absolute freshness. Before opening the truck doors, workers use high-pressure water hoses to wash away the dirt that has accumulated on the outside during the journey. Everything only begins when the truck is completely clean. Then, each crate of shrimp is carefully unloaded, preparing to enter the strict processing procedure inside the factory. After being brought down, the shrimp are transferred directly to the processing area. Here, they are put into a modern boiling machine which operates automatically at a temperature of about 95 to 98 degrees Celsius, ensuring that the shrimp are cooked evenly. Once cooked, the shrimp are passed through cold water to cool quickly. This helps to keep the meat firm while softening the shell, making it easier to peel without damaging the internal meat structure. After cooling, the shrimp are transferred to the automatic peeling area. Here, the rotating conveyor system carries the shrimp through rhythmically swinging machines, combined with strong water jets to soften and separate the shell. This process helps peel the shell quickly and cleanly, minimizing damage to the shrimp meat inside. Here, the rotating conveyor system carries the shrimp through rhythmically swinging machines, combined with strong water jets to soften and separate the shells without affecting the meat. To ensure absolute cleanliness, there is also a manual conveyor belt at the end of the line. Here, workers directly check and pick up each remaining piece of shrimp shell, ensuring the product is completely cleaned. To be more thorough, the shrimp are washed again with clean water to completely remove any residue. Next, they are put into a modern drying system, preparing for the next stages of preservation or deep processing. When drying is complete, the shrimp meat is divided equally into each bag according to standard quantity. The bags are carefully packed, ensuring hygiene and uniformity, ready for cold storage or export. After being carefully processed and packaged, the shrimp will continue their journey to consumers. From there, they are transformed into many attractive dishes, such as salted dried shrimp, shrimp salad, or seafood soup, full of the flavor of the ocean and the quintessence of the standard production process. Each piece of smoked meat is sliced thinly and evenly under the sharp blades of a modern cutting machine, revealing a layer of shiny, fragrant meat. The characteristic smoky aroma blends into each fiber of meat, awakening all the senses, reminiscent of cozy meals, rich in traditional flavors, but no less sophisticated. Making smoked meat is not only a processing process, but also an art of combining time, temperature, and meticulousness in each step. This article will guide you on how to make standard smoked meat, from choosing the ingredients to when the meat is taken out of the oven, ready to captivate anyone. Only healthy pigs with fresh, firm meat are carefully selected for processing. The best smoked meat is made from the loin of the pig, which is firm, tender, and low in fat, ideal for the smoking process. Therefore, parts such as the head or calf will be removed, keeping only the loin meat. Next, we need to remove the ribs. Some facilities use high-pressure presses, while others rely on skilled hands to gently lift out the bones without tearing the meat, like unzipping flavor from the frame. Each piece of meat is fed into a specialized cutter with a built-in positioning system and a blade that automatically adjusts to the thickness of each piece of meat. The ribs are gently removed by a thin, sharp blade that slides close to the bone edge without tearing the meat fibers. The entire process is controlled by sensors to ensure that no bones are left behind, while keeping the remaining meat flat, not crushed or deformed. During the marinating stage, the deboned pork belly is soaked in a marinade called brine, a mixture of salt, sugar, nitrite, chalk nitrate, usually pink salt. Beneficial microorganisms are added to promote a gentle fermentation process, which helps create a deeper flavor and helps the meat last longer without chemicals. To help the meat absorb the spices faster and more evenly, people use a specialized machine to poke small holes on the surface of the meat, helping the marinade penetrate deep into each fiber of the meat. After the meat has absorbed the spices from the marinade, the worker will press the meat into the mold to shape it, helping the meat fibers to tighten while also helping the spices penetrate deeper into each piece of meat. Compressing the meat into the mold also helps remove excess water, creating conditions for the meat to retain its texture and tenderness when finished. After the meat has been pressed into the mold and kept in shape, it will be put into the smoker. The smoking process will be hung in a space with smoke from special wood, helping the meat not only cook slowly, but also absorb the rich, fragrant flavor from the smoke, creating a golden color and a delicious, crispy outer layer. When the smoked meats are finished and give off an attractive aroma, they will be cut into bite-sized pieces, ready to continue the mission of bringing everyone delicious, flavorful meats. Have you ever heard of a cow that lives at an altitude of over 4,000 meters, can withstand cold temperatures below -40 degrees Celsius, and breathes easily in the thin air of the Himalayas? That is the yak, a survival machine in the harsh, natural environment, an animal that has been associated with the nomadic life of Tibet for thousands of years. Not only is it special in its extraordinary adaptability, the yak is also a comprehensive source of life. From milk, meat, to fur, skin, and even dung for burning. But what makes this animal become a legend in the land it inhabits? Nestled among the majestic mountains of Tibet and the Himalayas, the yak stands as a living symbol of the wild and harsh nature. With its thick fur like an eternal winter cloak, powerful curved horns, and massive stature, the yak is not only a strange creature, but also a testament to the extraordinary ability to survive on the roof of the world. For thousands of years, this special cow has been closely associated with the lives of the people in the highlands, providing food, materials, and cultural beliefs. Yak is not just an animal, but a living legend in the vastness of nature. Deep black eyes hidden behind thick fur exude a calm but alert look. With a large, stocky body and sturdy hooves, the yak embodies the strength, endurance, and mysterious beauty of the wild, snowy land. People often graze them naturally in a nomadic way, letting yaks forage for grass, moss, and wild plants. They are very strong, cold-resistant, and disease-free. In winter, farmers often store hay to supplement. Yaks live in herds, need large spaces and clean water sources. Regular health monitoring helps ensure the stable and sustainable development of the yak herd. Males begin to compete, displaying strength to attract females by roaring, rubbing horns, and fighting. Yaks usually enter their breeding season in the summer, from July to September, when the climate is more temperate. After mating, female yaks are pregnant for about 8 months and usually give birth to only 1 calf per litter in the spring of the following year, when the grass begins to grow again, making it easier to raise the calf. Milking a yak is a daily task, usually in the early morning and late afternoon, when the cow has partially lactated and her udders are softer. The herder milks the cow directly by hand, while gently holding the calf close to stimulate the mother yak to produce milk. Yak milk is not as abundant as that of a regular dairy cow, but it is very nutritious, fatty, and fragrant. The process of making cheese from yak milk in the highlands is often done entirely by hand, with rudimentary tools associated with nomadic life and harsh climates. After milking, the milk is gently warmed in a large pot. Then natural yeast, from young animal stomachs or sour water is added to stimulate coagulation. The mixture is stirred and left to stand for several hours until it forms a curd. Once the milk has curdled, the worker will use a bamboo or wooden knife to cut the curd into small pieces to separate the serum, or milk water. The mixture is then poured into a thick cloth bag or bamboo basket and left to drain for many hours, sometimes up to a day, to squeeze out all the water. In addition to milk for cheese, yaks are also used as draft animals, transporting goods through steep and dangerous mountain passes thanks to their strong health and sturdy legs. They help people in the highlands move and live conveniently in harsh terrain and climate conditions. During the cold winter, yaks are often kept indoors or in closed barns to avoid cold winds and keep them warm, helping them maintain their health and milk production in harsh conditions. Thanks to their thick and long fur, Highland people use yak hair to weave clothes, blankets, and traditional handicrafts, keeping them warm and durable in the cold climate. Do you find the yak, with its extraordinary strength and important role in Highland life, interesting and special?